A penguin once proposed to his mate with a pebble. She took it, walked back to her nest, and used it to complete a home she was already building with another male. The first penguin never found out. This isn't a metaphor. This happened. This is happening right now in Antarctica at scale. And it gets so much worse. This is a Gentoo penguin. Scientific name, Pygoscelis papua. Try saying that 3 times fast. So we'll stick with Gentoo. They live along the Antarctic Peninsula and subantarctic islands, cold, rocky coastlines, where raising chicks is basically an engineering problem. They are also, by penguin standards, fast. Gentoos are the fastest swimming penguins in the world, reaching speeds of up to 36 kilometers per hour underwater. Which is a great fun fact that I will now completely ignore as we move on, because right now, we're not in the water. We're on land, in a colony, in the middle of breeding season. And everything is about pebbles. The nest is everything. Antarctic ground floods when the snow melts. A good nest keeps eggs elevated and dry. A bad nest drowns them. A single Gentoo nest can contain well over 1,000 pebbles, which means pebbles matter here a lot. And because this is nature, where every useful thing eventually becomes complicated, pebbles have also become the currency of Gentoo romance. Here's how Gentoo courtship works. When a young male Gentoo wants a mate, he picks a nesting spot and starts building. He collects pebbles, examines them, selects the good ones, arranges them. He is essentially setting up a first apartment and hoping someone notices. When a female passes by, he picks up his best pebble, his nicest one, and places it at her feet. That's the whole proposal. One rock, placed carefully, in silence. If she picks it up and brings it to his nest site, they're together. They bow to each other, they call, they start building the nest as a pair. If she walks away, she's not interested. He goes back to his pile and rethinks his strategy. No speech, no candlelit dinner, no 3-day wait before texting back. Just a pebble, and a decision, and an immediate answer. There's something almost brutally efficient about it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Good pebbles aren't unlimited. The ground is rocky, sure, but smooth, round, structurally useful stones take effort to find. And effort costs energy. Energy that could be spent swimming, eating, surviving. Some penguins have looked at this exhausting loop and decided, nah, so they choose a life of crime. Pebble theft in Gentoo and Adélie colonies isn't rare. In some colonies, researchers found that a huge amount of pebble movement involved outright theft. At that point, it's not even stealing anymore. It's just aggressive wealth redistribution. The technique is almost choreographed. The thief approaches a neighboring nest with the absolute maximum amount of casual co-worker energy. They look away, at the horizon, at a cloud, at nothing in particular, while their beak quietly locates a pebble. They grab it, then walk away with the exact energy of someone pretending they've never seen a rock before in their life. Occasionally, the owner catches them. When that happens, there are consequences. Flippers are involved. It gets loud. The surrounding penguins, who witnessed the whole thing, will sometimes join in and make it worse. It's petty, it's chaotic, and it's a 10 out of 10 viewing experience. And if you're enjoying this deeply unserious Antarctic crime documentary so far, stick around. Scientists studying Adelie penguins on Ross Island actually mapped the theft patterns across colonies. They found that nests on the outer edge of the colony get stolen from more frequently than nests in the center, because outer edge thieves have a cleaner escape route and fewer witnesses. They modelled penguin crime geography for their jobs. We respect that. But the theft story has one more layer, and this one is genuinely something. Some female Gentoos and Adélies have been observed approaching lone, unpaired males at their nest sites. Not because they want a relationship, but because the male has a nice pile of pebbles and they would like some of them. This was first formally documented in 1998, published in a peer-reviewed ornithology journal. The researchers described it in careful, clinical, scientific language. You can feel, between the lines, that they were a little shaken. None of this is malicious, by the way. These are penguins. There's no moral framework here. There's just need, resource, and opportunity, which, if you think about it, describes a significant portion of human economic behavior as well. But we won't go there. At this point, you might be thinking, this all sounds ridiculous. Proposing with a rock, stealing pebbles under false pretenses. But step back for a second. What's actually happening here is more interesting than it looks. In a colony where every penguin looks almost identical, pebbles become one of the only visible signals of quality. A male who shows up with a large, well-built nest has demonstrated something real. He's patient. He works hard. He has good spatial awareness and, apparently, the social intelligence to either find good stones honestly or take them from neighbors without getting caught. The pebble isn't romantic in the human sense, but it's honest. It's evidence. You are what your nest looks like. And the female isn't being irrational when she evaluates it carefully. A better nest means better odds for her eggs. Gentoo penguins typically return to the same mate and the same nest site year after year. They don't mate for life in the absolute sense. Some pairs split, especially after a failed breeding season. But many of them come back. They identify each other by sound. Every penguin has a unique call. Partners learn each other's calls. After months apart, surviving separately, they find each other again by listening. They return to the exact same spot. The nest is still there. The pebbles are still there. A few might be missing, obviously, because their neighbors are absolute criminals. But the foundation remains. And every breeding season, they stand together and add more. There's actually a word for this now, by the way. People call it pebbling, little low-stakes gestures that basically mean, hey, I saw this and thought of you. Sending someone a meme, bringing them a snack, showing up with their favorite drink without asking. Which is kind of incredible when you think about it, because it came from penguins. From a bird standing in the Antarctic wind, holding a small, smooth rock, waiting to see if someone will take it. Nature is stranger than it looks, and occasionally, in its own very cold, very penguin way, kind of sweet.